Hello, welcome back. It's me, Xpsupernova, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the challenges I couldn't complete or the ones that were just straight up impossible. Now, let's start with the first one now, I suppose, which happens to be no uppercuts and no super jumps. I couldn't complete this challenge because I completely forgot to record it. It's kind of tragic, honestly, because I actually had gone to World 4 before, and then I forgot to record it, which is kind of sad, honestly. And then I just lost motivation to do it because I lost like 3 hours worth of possible footage, which is really tragic and took forever to do. So I just didn't finish it, honestly. But this challenge really isn't that difficult, honestly. It's not easy to mess up, and there's like no fail state really, besides, oh, you were dumb and you accidentally did a super jump. Or you could just like remap the up button if you needed to. It was originally actually going to be a no ups challenge, but and I was going to discount the doors because, there's no real point in doing that. Like, I don't really care. It's a door. It's just a way to move through. I wouldn't have cared at all anyways. But, yeah, there's that, I suppose. And then I turned it to no ladders, but it's not possible because you have to get to Waste Yard, and you cannot complete Pizza Escape without it. Because Pizza Escape has that one part with the second night, and you can't complete that one either. But this challenge is possible, but it just didn't end up being super interesting either, honestly. There's only like 3 different tricks in this entire thing. No, there's actually only 2 that are genuinely interesting. There's also a third one that I just found very recently, actually, while making this video. So yeah, all you gotta do is, it's really simple. All you gotta do is just that ground pound, because you get to keep your horizontal velocity and your vertical height, and then you can just do that. The spinning ground pound, as I like to call it, which is what I'm gonna call it from now on. And then you just gotta do one of these things, which I've done many times before, so it's not super difficult. Then next, you gotta do this. There's this part, which seems like it's actually impossible, right? Like, how am I going to get this little guy up here? Well, it turns out we're not going to get that guy up there. We're going to get this guy up there by going over here, and then bouncing on this guy, and then hitting it into that. And then, yeah, the level's possible. That's one of the 3 tricks that is mildly interesting, along with the other one in the tutorial. But guess what? There's 2 other unique tricks in this challenge, and that's really it. And then it just doesn't really get that interesting, honestly. Also, another fun little challenge or I guess not challenge, but a little, like, trick that doesn't fit in anywhere is this one. Oh man, I failed it. You're supposed to do a mock launch right there. How do you do a mock launch, first of all? It's actually pretty simple. First, you get into a mock run, and then you hold the mock run button. Then, you hold the jump button while you're on a wall. Because you need to hold the jump button when you're at the wall. Then you need to let go of the run button, and that's a mock launch. And then you can chain it with a grab to get yourself a bunch of vertical and horizontal mobility, which can let you do fun stuff like this, which, if I can get it done properly, there we go. We finally got it. It's a little bit tricky to pull that off, but once you pull it off, it feels awesome. Yeah, there's also one last trick that is required for this challenge as well. But there's also another fun little trick as well, which I'll get into in just a second. Alright, so now the next trick here, which actually is required to beat the challenge. And then one optional trick if you don't like a specific level and you like Waste Yard as your favorite level or something like that. It's understandable. Waste Yard's pretty good, not gonna lie. So all you gotta do is you gotta get a mock run and do another mock launch. Right there. Almost pulled it off, but it's a little bit tricky as well. It's about as tricky as the one in Fast Food Saloon into Floor 3. It's actually pretty tricky. There we go. That was a little bit of a delayed reaction thing. There we go, but it's fine. And after that, yeah, you can do war and you can beat the rest of the game. But also, you don't really need to do war if you don't want to either, which is also awesome. Because I figured out Waste Yard is possible. At first, I thought it was impossible, but it turns out it's not, actually. Surprisingly. Alright, so this is the part that I thought was impossible, but isn't. So yeah, you can just climb that ladder. Very easy strategy, but you can also just mock launch if you don't want to use the ladder. But here's the thing. It's impossible to get up to this guy normally, you know? Like, you have to you can't, like, just mock launch up there or anything, but guess what? Our favorite thing in the world, enemies, comes into play, and you can just bounce off this guy if I can get the positioning, right? And voila, look at that. You don't even have to worry at all. You can just get up here easily. Yeah, I think I didn't actually know you could just bounce off those enemies or something. I didn't think to do that. Yeah, this level is easily possible because of that. I thought it was impossible because you'd have to do really precise mock launch or something like that. But nope, it's just simple solutions are the best solutions, you know? And I actually got hit there to discover the solution there as well. So there's that, I suppose. anyways, let's get on to the next challenge, I suppose. Anyways, now for the next challenge, which happens to be minimum enemies, because you can't avoid killing every single enemy in the game, unfortunately, and also John Pillar counts. But this one's a little bit more interesting than, say, like, minimum jumps, in my opinion, or something like that. Because it feels a bit better, I don't know, because you already know it from the beginning you can't do it, whereas, like, at least you can have the sudden realization. I don't know. It's a little bit different than the other ones. Technically, 0 enemies is impossible, but minimum enemies absolutely is. But it's still a pain. And I'll show you one part that is actually very, very difficult to do, and that I don't know if I can actually do or not. It's pretty much pure RNG if you can get it done or not. It really, really is, unfortunately. So yeah, you just start at the level, really slow. I mean, the grab slide might not seem slow, but really it can still kill enemies, because pressing down, if you grab an enemy and bounce on top of another one, yeah, that's gonna end up killing it, unfortunately. And also, there are a lot of metal blocks near enemies that you need to break through, so it's actually very, very dangerous. Yeah, it is kind of tragic, unfortunately. Yeah, gotta be careful. But here's the thing, this challenge is very tedious. Like, for example, this little segment here. You want to make sure you have every single one of these guys in this pit. And make sure not to bounce on top of this guy while you're trying to drop a guy, or else you'll just slam him into the ground. It's very, very annoying. And don't try to knock these guys off of here, because it's not going to be helpful at all. And then just be patient here until you can jump right here. Then jump around this guy. And yeah. Now, I'm not here to explain the challenge, actually, for the most part, but I'm going to show why it's a very, very painful ordeal. There's enemies that kill themselves. There are enemies that kill enemies, because, for example, this pepperoni goblin, if I let him actually roam free and kick me, I would end up killing the Fork Knight. Yeah, those guys are a pain. I mean, for an example, let's just say this guy kicks me. Yeah, I get into a ball form, and they're usually very close to enemies, so they end up killing enemies, and then you gotta start the level all over again. It's absolutely wonderful. But that's not all. Because guess what? There's even more fun for you. Can you believe it? You want to just avoid that that night power-up in general, because it's not useful at all. Because you're not breaking that rat open anyways. Then you gotta be careful and avoid jumping on those enemies, or they'll fall into the cliff. Or off the cliff, not onto the cliff. Falling onto a cliff is sometimes preferable over falling off a cliff. And why do I say sometimes preferable? Because if you're falling from the sky and you fall onto a cliff, that's not going to be any more helpful than just falling into something else. Then you don't want the night power-up at all for pretty much the rest of the level, actually. Ironically enough. But you want to avoid killing any of these enemies, so slide. It might not seem that bad right now, because, I mean, I did this level a bunch of different times because I still couldn't complete it. And it's all because of this one lovely little part right here, which I like to call Cheese Slime Pain TM. Add TM to the end of everything. I don't know why I haven't done that on the channel yet, because I do that all the time. But yeah, first of all, these guys are easy to move out of the way. But if you notice these guys down there, I have to get 2 of those guys aligned together, and optimally all 3, which is impossible, but let's just ignore that. You gotta kill that guy, avoid killing that guy, and be very careful. It really is very annoying to get these guys to line up together. You gotta be very patient, and you can't just jump over them, because that doesn't work either. You want to scare them. And yeah, it's very, very painful to get around them. It's very slow, it's very painful, and sometimes it's in an unoptimal pattern that's pretty much impossible to get around. And yeah, they'll change their direction to face towards you like idiots if you do that. It's wonderful. I love it. And that's why this challenge is very painful. It just really is extremely painful. I guess I could jump over that pit, but that's not easy. It just really is a very painful challenge. I would not recommend doing it. It just is bad. And that's not all. Let me show you what I like to call the suicidal pincer. Let me introduce you to the suicidal pincer. What does the suicidal pincer do? Well, let's just ignore him right now because he's not important or relevant for a couple seconds. So if we just go through this level normally, ignoring the suicidal pincer, eventually, at some point, guess what will happen? Out of nowhere, he'll just kill himself. They don't even have regard for their own life. They'll just straight up go into lava and kill themselves. And it happens multiple times in the level. Every single Pencer, in fact, will actually end up killing itself, which is annoying, to say the least. And not to mention, there's also pepperoni goblins that'll knock you around. Very rarely will they hit you into an enemy, because the enemies are a bit more spread out here. It's still not spread out by any means, though. And you can just go in a slow run and knock that guy, I suppose. Although you'd probably just rather be careful and slow. I don't know, it's up to your preference, really. This challenge is very painful. But I'm not really here to explain the challenge, I'm just explaining, like, kind of what happens. And there's this guy, where you want to grab him or jump on top of him. You probably want to grab him more often than not, though, since he'll probably end up killing itself with a bit more precision. So yeah, you gotta make sure all these guys are bonked, and then you need to run away from them so they don't detect you. And yeah, it's very, very painful. And not to mention that, there's also anchovies that'll just kill themselves as well. Not to mention this pit, with those 3 pepperoni goblins that'll end up killing each other or themselves. It's just painful. And the worst part of all is this, where that's what happens if you press down too early. You have to be very precise and very careful not to accidentally kill him, because if you accidentally press grab twice, which can happen with a jittering finger occasionally, you'll just throw him away. It's painful, and unfortunately there's unavoidable enemies here, but there's not much you can do about it. I'm still not sure exactly which levels you're supposed to skip or not, because I never routed this thing fully, because you actually have to route this challenge as well, unlike any other challenge I've done before. Which I actually wouldn't mind routing too much, if it weren't for the fact that I never write anything down, so yeah. And then there's this suicidal Pencer, which will kill himself too. Yeah, this challenge is very painful and not really fun to do, unfortunately. It kind of goes against Pizza Tower, because you have to be slow and careful, and you have to not kill the enemies, which is kind of the whole point of the game. But yeah, so that's it for the possible challenges as far as I'm concerned. Now let's get into the impossible challenges. I'm not going to be talking about no jumping, even though it is impossible, because A, guess what? Someone else has already done it. Well, it's impossible anyway, so I don't know how they actually completed it. But oh well. Anyways, let's move on to the next challenge, I suppose. Alright, so first of all, let's start off with a challenge that's impossible at the tutorial. And probably is impossible in several other places. But yeah, let's just start with the tutorial, because the tutorial is the ender of challenges. If your challenge doesn't get past the tutorial, you already know it's failed. But not because other levels are going to cause issues, it's because the tutorial itself is the issue, actually. And yeah, it does cause issues. So first of all, I'm not pressing left or right at all. I can press up and down just fine in D&D, that's A-okay. And nothing is wrong. But, eventually, the tutorial decides, you know what, I'm going to end your challenge. So I'll show you the part where it actually just end it, because I'm putting my pacing a bit too slow here. Or it gets too quick, not slow. As you can tell, I'm very experienced at YouTube, for sure. And it happens to be this part right here. Now, there's no way to get Mach speed that's quick enough to kill this thing. Or, I guess, break this stupid box. And yeah, there's no way to get past it. This challenge seemed like it was going to be interesting, because I wasn't going to even press left or right at all. But nope, you actually can't get past this stupid block. There might be a way, like, if you can, like, somehow, like, fall down quick enough. Which, I don't know how that would be possible anyways, because you need to get Mach speed right here, but you can't turn around to get the Mach speed or anything like that. I don't know, this is an impossible challenge, unfortunately. But yeah, there's even more challenges that are impossible, and it's more thanks to the tutorial. I hate this challenge so much sometimes. Or I guess the tutorial so much. It ends so many challenges. Alright, so yeah, there's also a fun, dumb challenge that's absolutely impossible, and probably the most impossible challenge of them all. Only holding down. Isn't that wonderful? You can't even go through doors, you can't get out of this thing at all if you're holding down. Yeah, this challenge is just straight up impossible. But on a more serious note, kind of, what about if we do Pizza Tower without running? That's not possible either, and I'll show you very quickly why. If we just walk through this level, all nice and dandy, everything looks fine at first. You know, you just got these normal blocks which you can just grab into, which isn't running, mind you. Or mock running, which is what I would call it, honestly. You just keep grab dashing and everything is fine. But, I mean, this is kind of how you go through it originally. Like, you don't, or I guess maybe some people already immediately know to mock run. I didn't. You can even grab slide, which is awesome. For some extra speed. It's still not running. But, guess what? After all of this beautiful tech that you learned that's totally not new and totally is the newest, I mean, Yeah, you get to this. You can't break metal blocks without running. It's just a simple fact of life. I can't be cheeky and try to, like, I don't know, glitch into a wall or something and get past this. There's nothing I can really do, unfortunately. That just is how it is, and it's kind of tragic. But yeah, that's another challenge that's uncompletable, unfortunately. What about without down? You gotta press down very simply at the beginning. Because, yeah, there's still nothing you could do. You have to press down right there, like, so you can't really do that. No ground pounding? You gotta find a way to break this block, of course. But, yeah, you can break this block maybe with, like, a little bit of shenanigans, but you can definitely not break this block with shenanigans, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of challenges just straight up aren't impossible, so it kind of makes it hard to make a challenge video in the first place, if you get what I'm saying. It is kind of sad. That's why I haven't been able to make a challenge video in a while, or anything in general. I just kind of ran out of ideas for Pizza Tower. It's just how it's been going. So if you still have suggestions, I would be glad to take them for Pizza Tower, but I don't really have any more ideas. The mods don't just seem that interesting, honestly, and the ones that are kind of interesting are not super well made. 99% of the things there are just levels, and I'm not doing online levels that people have made. That's not my kind of thing to do. It's just not what I really want to do either. But if you have any other ideas for a challenge maybe that might be possible, comment down in the comment section below, and remember, the tutorial will end anything, basically. I'm glad I was able to make the no uppercuts challenge, and no wall jumps challenge. And I might do the no uppercuts challenge if enough people want it. But yeah, there's that, I suppose. And thank you all for watching. If you liked it, consider leaving a like or maybe subscribing, as it helps with the channel. And also check out my Discord for video updates or just to chat and chill, I suppose. I guess that's what like every Discord server for YouTubers does, but I don't know. I just made it like a year ago. But there's like nobody there because I didn't actually work on my YouTube channel for a while. But there's that, I suppose. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Leave your comments about your suggestions about anything, really, and I'll maybe check them. Actually, no, I'll certainly check them because I don't have enough people watching. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Goodbye, and have a great day.